My sister's children made a mess by throwing food and spilling chocolate milk on me, so I decided not to buy them Christmas presents. In response, she accused me of mistreating her kids. My sister Marissa is 32 and I'm 28. She has 3 kids, Tyler, an 11-year-old boy, Chloe, a 9-year-old girl, and Harper, a 6-year-old girl. Yes, these are their real names, and that should give you an idea of what I'm dealing with. Marissa and her husband, Colin, have been married for around 12 years. They both have stable, well-paying jobs, so money isn't an issue for them. To give you the full picture, I need to explain what I've been dealing with regarding these kids for years. This Christmas incident didn't happen out of nowhere. It started when Tyler was about 4. Marissa believed traditional parenting was too restrictive and wanted her children to grow up as free-spirited, confident individuals. This meant her kids were never told no, literally. Instead of setting firm boundaries, Marissa and Colin used gentle redirection. I first noticed how problematic this was at Tyler's 6th birthday party at a family entertainment center. Tyler saw another child playing a game he wanted, so he walked over and pushed the kid off the machine. When the other child started crying and their parents showed up, Marissa said to Tyler, "I see how much you want to play that game and your feelings matter, but let's find a way for everyone to enjoy themselves." No apology to the other family, no consequences for Tyler. The other parents looked at her in disbelief. But it gets worse. At family gatherings, these kids treat everyone's homes like their personal playground. During an Easter dinner, Chloe decided she didn't like the ham our mom made, so she dumped her plate on the floor and demanded fast food. Instead of disciplining her or making her clean up, Marissa asked our mom if she had any chicken nuggets. When Mom said no, Marissa sent Colin to a fast food restaurant to get some. I watched my 65-year-old mother get down on her hands and knees to clean up the mess while Chloe smirked. Harper, the 6-year-old, has a habit of screaming, ear-splitting, banshee-level shrieks whenever she doesn't get exactly what she wants, exactly when she wants it. At my cousin's wedding last summer, Harper threw a tantrum because she wanted to hold the bride's flowers. Marissa's solution: she walked up to the altar during the vows and asked the bride if Harper could hold the bouquet for a bit. The bride was too stunned to refuse, so Harper spent half the ceremony waving around a $300 bouquet. Now, here's where it gets personal for me. I'm child-free by choice and have always been the fun aunt who loves spoiling the kids in our extended family. I adore children, but I don't want my own. However, with Marissa's kids, every interaction feels like navigating a minefield. 2 years ago, I took all 3 kids to the zoo for Tyler's birthday. I spent over $200 on tickets, food, and gifts. Harper decided she wanted a $45 stuffed elephant from the gift shop. When I explained I'd already bought each of them a souvenir and that was enough, she threw herself on the floor, screaming as if she were in agony. Tyler chimed in, saying it wasn't fair that Harper was upset, and Chloe started crying because the noise hurt her ears. Instead of leaving or disciplining Harper, I caved and bought the elephant to stop the meltdown. Then Tyler demanded a $60 remote control car because Harper got something extra, and Chloe wanted another stuffed animal to match. By the time we left the gift shop, I'd spent an extra $150, feeling completely manipulated by children. That was my wake-up call, but it took another 1.5 years to finally take a stand. The breaking point came at my birthday dinner in October. I'd booked a table at an upscale restaurant, and Marissa insisted on bringing all 3 kids. I was okay with it at first, but within 10 minutes, chaos erupted. Harper was standing on her chair, reaching for the breadbasket on the next table. Tyler was loudly complaining that the menu had nothing he liked and demanded to know why I hadn't chosen a place with chicken tenders. Chloe was flicking butter packets across the restaurant with her fork. When I asked Marissa to please control her kids because other diners were staring, she accused me of being judgmental and said kids should be free to express themselves. Apparently, even by throwing butter at strangers. Things hit rock bottom when Harper knocked over her glass of chocolate milk, soaking my white outfit and purse. Instead of apologizing or helping clean up, Marissa laughed and said, "That's what you get for wearing white around kids." It was my fault for expecting basic manners. I left my own birthday dinner early, covered in chocolate milk, my night ruined. The server looked embarrassed, and I left a big tip because I felt humiliated by their behavior. That night, I decided I was done indulging this nonsense. When Marissa texted me in early November asking what I was getting her babies for Christmas, I told her I wasn't buying them anything this year. She called immediately, asking what she'd done wrong. I explained that every interaction with her kids was exhausting, and their behavior at my birthday dinner had deeply hurt me. Marissa said I didn't understand parenting and had unrealistic expectations for kids. She called me petty and cruel for punishing innocent children for being themselves. But here's the thing. I've spent time with other kids in our family and friend group, and none of them act like this. My cousin's 7- and 9-year-olds say please and thank you, clean up after themselves, and eat meals without causing a scene. My best friend's 8-year-old helps clear the table and has never thrown food or broken anything intentionally. Marissa calls her kids vibrant and self-aware. But I see 3 children who have never been taught that other people matter or that their actions have consequences. I respect that Marissa's parenting is her choice, but I don't think I should have to fund and reward behavior that makes family gatherings miserable for everyone. My parents keep telling me I'm the adult and should be the bigger person, but I feel like I've been the bigger person for years, watching these kids learn they can treat people however they want without repercussions. Isn't it time someone showed them their actions affect how others interact with them? So, am I wrong for refusing to buy Christmas gifts for kids who never show gratitude and whose behavior disrupts family events? Update 1. At 3 p.m., Marissa called me, screaming so loudly I had to hold the phone away from my ear. Apparently, her friend Jessica follows this platform and recognized the story immediately. Jessica sent Marissa the link with a text. "Is this about you?" Marissa read my entire post and over 100 comments, and she was livid. She accused me of humiliating her and her kids online and sharing private family matters with strangers. She ranted about how I made her look like a terrible mother and had no right to expose her family's personal details. I tried to explain that I didn't use real names and was genuinely seeking advice, but she wouldn't hear it. She said I was cruel for describing her kids that way and had no idea I hated her family. Then she went off the deep end. She claimed she'd been protecting me from what others think of my lifestyle choices, saying the family thinks I'm selfish for not having kids and that I'll never know real love until I'm a mother. She said Colin has always thought I'm cold and judgmental, and they've been tiptoeing around me for years because they pity me. That hurt more than I expected. I always thought Marissa and I were close, despite our differences on parenting. It gets worse. After yelling at me, Marissa called our parents and told them I'd posted horrible things about her kids online, calling them names and mocking them publicly. Mom called me 20 minutes later, devastated, asking how I could do this to our family. She said Marissa was hysterical, and the kids were asking why Auntie hates them. When I tried to clarify that I didn't hate the kids, just their behavior, Mom cut me off, saying attacking children online was a line she never thought I'd cross. Dad called next, furious. He accused me of betraying the family and said private matters should stay private. He said Marissa is struggling, and instead of helping, I made her a laughingstock online. He demanded I apologize and delete the post immediately. I'm torn because I didn't lie about anything. Everything I wrote happened. But I'm starting to question if posting publicly was the right move. Marissa sent me screenshots of comments calling her a bad mother and her kids brats. She said reading them made her sick, and she couldn't look at her kids without thinking about what strangers were saying. She explained she chose gentle parenting because she grew up with strict discipline, which left her anxious and insecure. She doesn't want her kids to feel the fear and shame she did, preferring confident, assertive children over timid ones. I had no idea she felt that way about our childhood. Our parents were typical, rules, consequences, nothing extreme. I never found it traumatic, but maybe she did. Now Marissa says if I go to Christmas dinner, she won't bring the kids because she doesn't want them around someone who sees them as monsters. Mom begged me to apologize and delete the post to save Christmas. My brother called and was more reasonable. He understands why I'm frustrated and agrees Marissa's kids have behavioral issues, but he thinks posting online wasn't the best idea. He suggested apologizing for the post, but holding firm on the gift boundary. Colin hasn't contacted me, but Marissa says he's furious, believes I'm toxic, and has thought for years that I look down on them. This post to him proves he was right. The worst part. Some commenters found Marissa's social media and left mocking comments on her kids' photos like such angels. And so well-behaved. Nothing outright mean, but clearly sarcastic given my post. Marissa had to make her profiles private. She's convinced this will haunt her kids forever, that someone will find the post when they're older and use it against them. She says I've damaged her children by writing about them. I feel terrible that things escalated like this. I didn't think anyone we knew would see it, and I didn't want Marissa harassed online. But I'm also frustrated because she's acting like I fabricated everything when I just described what happened. Some comments pointed out that Marissa's gentle parenting is just permissive parenting with a trendy label. Others said her kids will struggle in the real world if they don't learn actions have consequences. That resonates with me, but I'm wondering if airing this publicly instead of setting boundaries privately was a mistake. Talking to Marissa directly never works. She gets defensive, attacks my lack of parenting experience, and I back down to keep the peace. I thought outside perspectives would help me gauge if I was being reasonable, but now it feels like I've made things worse. Mom wants me to post an update saying I was wrong and Marissa's a great mom. Dad wants me to delete everything and act like it never happened. Marissa demands a public apology admitting I lied about her kids. I'm supposed to go to my parents for our annual pre-Christmas cookie baking day tomorrow, but Marissa says she won't come if I'm there. Mom's heartbroken because we've done this since we were kids. I don't know what to do. Update 2. Oh my God, I don't even know where to start with what happened at Christmas dinner yesterday. I'm writing this from home. Let me catch you up on what happened between my last update and Christmas. I didn't apologize or delete the post, which probably wasn't great for family peace, but I couldn't bring myself to say I lied when I didn't. Cookie baking day was canceled because Marissa refused to attend if I was there. Mom was crushed and kept calling both of us to mediate, but Marissa wouldn't budge until I made things right. For a while, it seemed Christmas dinner would be canceled too. Marissa told our parents she wasn't comfortable bringing the kids around me, and Dad was mad at me for ruining Christmas. Then Mom had what she called a brilliant idea. Marissa and her family could come for dinner, and I could join for dessert after they left. That way, the kids could see their grandparents, and Marissa wouldn't have to face me. I was hurt to be excluded from my family's Christmas, but I agreed so the kids wouldn't miss out. Then Marissa changed her mind at the last minute, saying even my coming for dessert would ruin the day because she'd be worried about how I'd judge her kids afterward. So Mom made another call. She asked me on Christmas morning to stop by for a quick Merry Christmas visit and leave before things got tense. I should have said no and stayed home with Netflix, as my gut told me. But it was Christmas, and I missed my family. I arrived at my parents' around 2 p.m., and the tension was thick from the moment I walked in. Marissa was in the kitchen helping Mom with dinner and turned her back when I said hello. Colin was in the living room with the kids and barely nodded at me. Mom tried so hard to keep things normal, chatting cheerfully about my job and apartment to cut through the awkwardness. Dad was polite but distant, only responding when I spoke to him. At first, the kids seemed normal. Harper ran up and hugged me like nothing was wrong, which made me feel even worse. Tyler and Chloe were standoffish, probably because their parents had told them how to act around me. I brought a bottle of wine for my parents and hot chocolate bombs for the kids, not gifts, just a peace offering. Harper was thrilled about the hot chocolate and wanted to make it right away. Mom said it was fine, and I started thinking things might be okay. Then it all fell apart. Harper wanted her hot chocolate made with milk instead of water, so Mom heated milk on the stove. Harper was bouncing around the kitchen, getting more excited, and kept trying to touch the pot to help. Mom and I told her several times to stay back because the stove was hot, but she didn't listen. Marissa was right there but stayed silent, ignoring Harper's behavior while giving me the cold shoulder. You can guess what happened next. Harper reached for the pot handle, and I grabbed her arm just before she touched it. She lost her balance and bumped into the stove. She wasn't burned, just scared, and started crying. I knelt to check on her and she seemed fine, just shaken. But Marissa lost it. She rushed over, yanked Harper away, and screamed that I'd put her child in danger. I tried to explain I was protecting Harper from getting hurt, but Marissa shrieked that I'd grabbed her and was taking out my anger on an innocent kid. She called me violent and said she knew I'd eventually hurt her children. Colin got in my face, saying I'd crossed a line and needed to leave immediately. Dad tried to calm things down, but Marissa was hysterical, screaming I was dangerous and threatening to call the police. The worst part, Harper stopped crying and looked confused, wondering why everyone was yelling. Chloe started crying because of the shouting. I kept trying to explain, but no one listened. Marissa was convinced I'd tried to harm Harper and nothing would change her mind. Mom was crying, begging everyone to calm down and saying it was Christmas, so we should work it out as a family. But Marissa was already packing the kids' things and telling Colin to get the car. As they left, Marissa turned and said I was everything wrong with our family, and she was done pretending I cared about anyone but myself. She claimed my post proved I hated her kids, and now I was physically threatening them. Colin told my parents that if I attended future family events, he and Marissa wouldn't bring the kids. He said they had to choose between me and their family because he wouldn't expose his kids to someone who hates them. After they left, Dad yelled at me, saying I'd destroyed our family and that Marissa's kids are his pride and joy. He said he might not see them again because I couldn't keep my mouth shut. Mom was sobbing, asking how we got to this point and why I couldn't just apologize to fix things. I tried explaining again that I hadn't done anything wrong, neither with the stove nor the post. Dad cut me off, saying if I couldn't see how my actions hurt the family, maybe Colin was right, and I shouldn't come to family events anymore. So I left. I spent Christmas night alone, ordering takeout and wondering how saving a 6-year-old from a hot stove got me banned from my family. I keep replaying that moment, and I know I didn't grab Harper roughly or put her in danger. I stopped her from getting burned. In a normal family, I'd have gotten a thank you, not accusations of abuse. But Marissa was already set to see me as the villain because of the post, so she interpreted my actions that way. I get that she's protective of her kids, but jumping to you tried to hurt my daughter, instead of thank you for keeping her safe, shows how broken our relationship is. My brother called this morning to check on me. He wasn't at dinner because he was with his girlfriend's family, but Mom filled him in. He thinks Marissa overreacted but said the family's fractured and he's not sure how to fix it. He also said Mom's devastated, fearing she won't see Marissa's kids again, and Dad's talking about future holidays without me to keep the peace. The irony is, if I'd let Harper grab the pot and get burned, Marissa probably would have blamed me for not stopping her. I couldn't win. If you enjoyed this story, don't forget to leave a comment, hit subscribe, follow for more, and turn on the bell icon so you never miss the next one.